Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 21st. This morning I would like to talk about Paul's shipwreck. If you're familiar with the end of chapters 27 and 28 of Acts, Paul and Luke, who's the author of Acts, get shipwrecked on an island called Malta. And so I'm going to read just a couple of verses to kind of give us a framework before we talk about it. It says, but the ship hit a sandbar, so the front of it got stuck and wouldn't move. The back of the ship was broken to pieces by the pounding waves. Later on, when we were safe on shore, we found out that the island was called Malta. Publius owned property nearby. He was the chief official on the island. He welcomed us into his home. For 3 days, he took care of us. He treated us with kindness. His father was sick in bed. The man suffered from fever and dysentery. So Paul went in to see him. Paul prayed for him. He placed his hands on him and healed him. Then the rest of the sick people on the island came. They too were healed. I have recently been a part of a Bible study. We've been talking through Acts, and something that struck me as I was reading this section is that unbeknownst to any of the sailors or Paul or Luke or the Maltans themselves, God was orchestrating all things to bring his glory to the Maltans. It's clear from a segment of the story that we didn't read where Paul gets bitten by a poisonous snake and doesn't die, and the Maltans are very surprised and start worshiping him as a god, that they have no framework for the gospel. They don't know who Jesus is, and so God orchestrates even what seems like a catastrophe of a shipwreck where hundreds of people are floating. They all make it to shore, and God sees fit to allow Paul to tell the good news of Jesus to these people. And so I just thought that was pretty relevant to what we're going through right now. I'm sure as these people, all the sailors and Paul and Luke are being shipwrecked, they're not thinking through, oh, God's gonna reveal himself to these people on Malta. They're thinking through, oh no, we've just been in a shipwreck and we could die. And so as we are going through this time of coronavirus and a global pandemic, I just want you to be reminded that God is orchestrating these events to reveal himself to the nations. His glory will be made known through this. And so I just want to give us kind of a bird's eye view perspective of what God could be doing. And he could be bringing salvation to even your own neighbor. And so there, I believe, is going to be a softening of hearts towards God and the gospel. That's what I'm praying for. And so when you're feeling overwhelmed and discouraged, as I have been the last few days, just take time to acknowledge that, to lament, but to realize that God is going to be doing something. He is working all things for our good and for his glory. So leave with that hope today.